Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do like a podcasty informative discussion video. So we're just gonna talk together. I will show you how a stat works in this game, why art boost, supporter stat are not as impactful as you think, and they're pretty much pointless or like not super useful. They're very low compared to stats that you get from stars and so on. I will also show you a way to calculate your own stat using different equipment. I made a full Google sheet. You can use different setups and so on. I will show you how to use it, of course. I will give some ideas on equipment to use, how to optimize and so on. But yeah, I will just go over everything, explain to you all about the stats, and hopefully you will learn a little bit more about it. And I know a lot of people are upset about supporters and they think it's base stat, but it's actually not. It's just bonus stat that do not do that much, to be honest. Now let's start with everything and the beginning. Let me explain the basic. In this game there is two types of stat. There is the base stat and there is the boost stat. The base stat are the stat that you get from stars, leveling up characters and everything. Those are like the same for every single person that have the same character at the same stat level. And those base stats are gonna be multiplied by base ability and base equipment. So for example, we're gonna have the base strike attack. So our base stat are gonna be multiplied by that. Same here, all the base here. And we have a bunch of them in game. You can get like stat from equipment, LL abilities, and Z abilities, and they are the most important. Now why I'm explaining this to you? That's because the boost stats are not getting multiplied. They're gonna be added as a number to the base stat after you do all the Z ability multiplication and everything. So we have Orange Piccolo here. We have 290k total stat, that's not the base. And to get the base, what you do is the total, which is 290k minus 47k, which will get you 243k. Simple enough. And that number is going to be multiplied by the base equipment, the abilities, and so on. After that, when we get the number, we're gonna add the boost stat, which is 47k, after all the multiplication, and that's how it goes. Now why I'm explaining that? Because every soul boost, art boost, supporter stats, they're gonna be added to the boost stat. They're not gonna be multiplied by the bunch of the ability you're gonna get in the equipment, and that's why they seem so pointless and they don't give you too much stat. Very easy to prove. You're gonna go to art boost here. Look at what it says. Strike attack, blast attack, strike defense, blast defense. It doesn't say base. And I can prove it to you further. Let's get the character that I haven't art boosted. It's gonna load. We show the detail. You see here 109k strike attack, which is the total, not the base, and it has 26k boost. We're gonna display the maximum stat with art boost, and what it's gonna show you is the boost column is gonna increase, which means your base stat are not increasing. And 39k 720. So 39k 720 is 26k plus 13k, which means our art boost is gonna go in there. So the art boost is not gonna be multiplied by the ability and so on. Same thing if we get to a supporter here and we look at his stats. Okay, we leave this screen and it's gonna show you the blast attack, blast defense. So they're gonna be added to the second column, which is the boost, and they're not gonna be multiplied by Z abilities and so on. And that's why you think they do nothing, but just is so small you barely even notice it in game, because you get like 300% increase to 290k, which is gonna be so big compared to only 10k stat from a supporter. It seems negligible, and I will give you an example in a second, and I will show you how much a 10k increase is compared to a 10% base equipment, which is the equivalent of a level 99 supporter. But before that, let me talk about Zenkai that gets a lot of boost stat. Didn't you notice that sometimes you get Zenkais with higher or similar stat to a normal character? Because a lot of them are boost stat. For example, we're gonna have a Goku that has 270k base strike attack. Another thing is with this Goku, you're gonna see that he has 270k in both his offenses, but in fact his blast attack is higher because he has more boost stat on his strike attack, which is around 2k extra. Of course, it's not a big difference, but the blast attack is in fact higher because a lot of it is base compared to the strike attack, which is gonna be boosted. Now, let me show you in game and prove to you that stats like art boost are not gonna be counted, and it's very easy to do. We're gonna have the HP stats, which is gonna be important for my experiment, and I'm gonna put the orange Piccolo again here as an example, and I'm gonna do this. What I'm gonna do is give him a 10% base equipment that is HP. Now why HP? Because we can see the difference in game and it's very easy to test. We're gonna give him the DKP that gives exactly 10%, and look at my calculation in game. I have my total HP stat, which is gonna be after transforming. I'm doing after transforming, not before. It's gonna be 2.478 million. The boost is gonna be 336k. So to calculate my 10% base HP equipment, I'm gonna remove the boost and it's gonna give me 2.141 million. 10% of that is 214k. Of course, you just remove a zero from the 2.14 million. And then after you add the boost, which is gonna be 336k, and we're gonna get 550k as our new boost. Then that new boost, you're gonna add it to the base that we had earlier. So 2.141936 plus 550,314, and that should give us 2.692 million and 250, and it should be the exact number if what I'm saying is correct and all the calculations are correct, and that will prove you that boost stats are not going to be calculated by base equipment. And remember, boost stat is art boost, supporters, and so on, and that will prove you also why art boost or supporter stat you don't really feel a big jump compared to having star. Now let's get in game. Now we are in the real do event. We're gonna go like this just to prove to you we have the right equipment. It's gonna be like this, 10% HP. Let me click here so you can see it's 10% HP. We go in and we should expect our transforming orange Piccolo to have exactly 2.692250, because of course we have only 10% base equipment and the boost stats are not going to be counted. Now there is another thing, pure equipment, and I will explain it in a second too, and that's when the basically the boost stats are not going to be counted in terms of multiplier, but we will do it in a second. So this Goku just eliminate me, remove the auto, go kill my orange Piccolo, and just let's wait and pause it. 2.692,250, exactly like it's shown on screen, and so it proves to you that my calculations are absolutely correct, and the art boost, supporters, and so on are not real stats like you get from stars. Now let's get to the next thing. It's gonna be pure equipment and why they are so valuable. What is pure equipment? They are equipment that give you boost or stats after the base multiplier, after the boost, and after everything. They get multiplied after the final product that you get from the base equipment and the boost, and it's getting adding up later. And how do you see a boost equipment in game, or a pure equipment, sorry, in game? It's easy. It's just equipment that doesn't say base. So here we're gonna have 11.5% strike attack. So that's a pure equipment. So that's gonna be multiplying by the total. So it's gonna be at the end. But the base strike attack 9.85% is gonna be multiplied before the boost. So that's the base, the difference. And the later the multiplier is, the better it is, because it's gonna be multiplied by more stat. And that's why pure equipment are so good, because basically you're gonna get more stats and a bigger number to multiply on. I'm gonna give you an example. We're gonna have Orange Piccolo, who has a pure HP equipment and is after transforming, which is here. And as you can see here, in slot 3, 10% to health, not base HP. It's gonna be health, so that's a pure equipment, not a base equipment. And another thing is slot 2, gonna give us strike defense and blast defense base 30%, so that's base. And also it's gonna give us 15% to on strike and blast defense, which is gonna be pure because it doesn't say base. Now on screen you see I have calculations. We gave it a 10% base equipment earlier on the other experiment. It gave us 2,692,250, and we're gonna add to it a 10% pure, and what we're gonna expect is that 2,692,000 is gonna be multiplied by the 10% and added on top. So it's gonna take the total and multiply it, and it should be 2.961 million in game, and that's what we're gonna expect if my calculation are right and if my assumption about pure equipment are right. Now let's put both the 10% base, which is here, and the 10% pure, and let's see how much stat the Orange Piccolo is gonna get post transforming. Let's get in game, same thing, and we're gonna go like this. Okay, we are in. Let's see that. It's gonna transform, and 2,961,475, exactly like the calculation, and that proves you the importance of the pure equipment. Super easy, it's just getting multiplied later. That's basically everything about stat and how they are calculated. To sum up, art boost, supporters, and any stat that is basically a boost and doesn't say a base on it is gonna be added to the bonus column or the boost column, not the base stat. They're not the same like stars or leveling up a character. Now that we know how stats work and why supporters and art boost is gonna be added to the boost stat, we're gonna see 10k boost stat is the equivalent to how much in terms of base equipment. So let's say we're gonna have Orange Piccolo. He's gonna have 2090k total stats. His base stat are gonna be the total minus the boost, which is 243k, and the 10% equipment is gonna be 243k. 10% of that is 24k. Of course, you remove just a 0, and that 24k is a 10% equivalent of an equipment. So what is the 10k you get from a level 99 supporter? It's not even 5%. It's gonna be like 3 to 4%. Like compared to other characters. For Orange Piccolo, it's a little bit more than 4%. Some characters gonna be less. So an equipment that is gold and has a 4% is gonna be more than a 10k stat for a supporter. And let's say a supporter has 2 10k stat, it's gonna be an equivalent of an 8% equipment. So one supporter that is maxed level 99 is just basically an 8% gold equipment. That's all, nothing else. And for art boost, the 13k stat, it's basically around let's say 6% stat compared to the 23k or 24k, sorry, because it's 13k times 2, which is 26k, and that's 10%, and the 10% equipment gave us 24k, so 6% is the equivalent for 13k, and that show us that art boost is equivalent to a 6% base equipment. And now I'm comparing, of course, to a maxed character. If you didn't have a max character, maybe it's gonna be an equivalent of an 8%, and the supporter is gonna be an equivalent of 6 or 7%. It's just gonna differ, but it's super low. It doesn't matter at all. So if you do not have supporters, or if you want to summon for supporter for stat, really don't do it because it's completely useless. I'm gonna have a summary here so you can understand better. So my summary is a supporter level 99 on a maxed high star character is gonna be a 3 to 4% equivalent in terms of attack. For art boost, it's gonna be 5 to 6% equivalent. Of course, you can add more if you have like a low star character. It's gonna be like a 6% equivalent for attack, 8% for art boost, and in terms of defensive, it's 5 to 6%. 6 to 8 for defensive stat. So 6 supporters that are level 99 is an equivalent of 48% base the ability basically. So if you have a low star character, it might go to 60%, and like in the worst case scenario, if you have 6 level 99 supporter, it's gonna be an equivalent of 30% base strike attack and defense, and that's if you have all supporter going in one way that you want. So that's if you have 6 supporter that give 10k strike attack and 10k strike defense each, and in reality it's gonna be more spread out, and you probably cannot choose. And let's say it's equally spread out, and we're gonna have 12% strike attack, 12% blast attack, let's say 13% or 18%, sorry, strike defense, 18% blast defense, and that will add up to 60%. And do you think that's super high? I don't think so. That's just basically a gold equipment or a bad Z ability in my opinion. If you have the LL ability that gives 10% to each stat, which is 40% regrouped for one character, 2 character of them or 2 LL max star are going to give 80%. And do you feel that is too oppressive in game? In my opinion, the LL ability, I don't feel it too much, but that's just my feeling. Let me know in the comment section, of course. I hope you understood everything. If you didn't, just take the summary for you. I'm gonna link the thread, the Twitter thread in the description. You can look it up and try to understand it a little bit more. But now let me show you something else, which is more interesting in my opinion, and it's gonna be my own calculator for stats. So if you have a character and you want to calculate stats, you can use this basically doc spreadsheet. Everyone have access to it. You just click on it, it's gonna be in the description. You're gonna make a copy, you're gonna click like this, very easy, and it's gonna open this. Nice. And what you're gonna have here, you're gonna have 3 setup, you can play with it. You're gonna have your base stat, your the total stat, the boost stats, and the on calculator is gonna calculate your base stat, for example 2478 336, and it's gonna have your base stat. You can input your supporter stat, your base percentage, your pure percentage, and we're gonna play with it a little bit so you can understand. So we're gonna go to our stat. It's gonna be here after transforming. Some boost stats are wrong, so we're gonna update them quickly. We're gonna go here to the boost attack. It's gonna be 47044, and then here it's gonna be 46014. Then we're gonna go here 41874, and it's gonna go like this, and we finish with 42 and 541. We don't do crit because it doesn't do too much, so it's not worth it really calculating it or using any crit equipment. Then after that we're gonna copy this, copy, and we paste it here since it's gonna be the same character that we're gonna compare, and it's gonna be the same stats here. Now I already input the total stats, and we're gonna correct some of that. Like this one is gonna be 284 219, like this. Then it's gonna be 188, doesn't work to correct, sorry, 188 402, and the last one is gonna be 188 472, and this is correct, I think. Yes, it is, and the HP is correct. We're gonna do the same here, copy, and we paste it like here, we paste it like here. So we're gonna have the stat of the character that are gonna be the same across the board. Now we're gonna put everything to 0 like this. So I just added a bunch of 0 here so we don't have a difference. And let's say we want to calculate the strike attack of our character, and we're gonna put the base everything here and the pure here, and it's gonna calculate it for you. You never touch this table here because it's gonna be automatic. you just edit this part which where I'm putting input, and if you have any supporter stat you can put it in the bottom, and it's gonna be here where stat supporter are. Now let's make a build for our orange piccolo in game, and let's see how it goes. For him, let's get out the equipment. I'm gonna keep only his unique equipment because everyone is gonna have him. And then we're gonna put like, let's say you want to put a regen bench. We're gonna go regen, and we're gonna put our HP buffer. Let's say we're gonna use Red Zamasu with him, and we're gonna use a Garlic Junior or like a LL Piccolo, the Demon King. And then we're gonna, let's say, add a Zenkai bunch for her, a Zenkai bench like this, and then another Z ability that's gonna help Zamasu, and we're gonna do this. Let's calculate everything. I made a cut, so everything is ready. We're gonna do just the strike attack today. You're gonna click on the eye here on the top right, and you're gonna click on the sheet, like the Google Sheet equal, like on the base thing, and you're gonna just add up. We have 10% from the Legends Limited Z ability from Piccolo, 7% from Zamasu, and another 7% from DKP, and then you're gonna add 38% from the Strike Attack Z ability from Piccolo, another 30% from Demon King Piccolo. Since he's leader, he's also gonna get the Zamasu one, so another 30%. And we're gonna add Fatbook gives double defense, and Fusion Zamasu give him 35% since he's leader, remember, so he's gonna get it too. And we're gonna add the Zenkai buff, which is gonna give him 40% base strike attack. Now that's all for us. Now we go to equipment. We already have this equipment, which is gonna be 34.45, which is gonna be like this, and this is gonna be our full Z ability and equipment that we have currently, and it's 231.45. What I would do is just write it again so you can edit it easily when you want to add other equipment and stuff. So we're gonna do this, we're gonna copy it and paste it onto setup 2, or just write it again, 31.45, and we're gonna add 31.45, and let's customize some equipment. Let's start with giving him just two base equipment. So we're gonna give him this equipment that is gonna give him some base strike attack, which is gonna be 38%, and let's give him an equipment that's gonna give him some base strike attack again, which is gonna be this one, which is 25 or even more, which is around 28%. So we're gonna do this and this, so only base, and let's add up all that to here, and this first setup is gonna be equal 231.45 plus we have 12.4 plus 24.45, and we're gonna add another here, which is gonna be 38%. Okay, we finish it, and at the end we're gonna get the result, which is gonna be here, so you can look at it. So setup 1 is gonna have 1,036,157. let's edit here, and we're gonna do only pure equipment, and we're gonna do this equipment which gives a lot of strike attack, which is pure, and this equipment which gives a lot of pure. So this equipment is gonna give us some base too, so we're gonna add it to our thing, which is gonna be 31.5, which is our Z ability and or plus 15.6% base. So remember, slot 2 is gonna give us some base, so we count it, and here is gonna give us 18% pure plus another 18% here, which is gonna be 36%. So we're gonna give it here. That's the difference. So here we had way more base, so we had like 60% more base. Here we have way less base but more pure, so we're gonna see the difference in a second. And here let's do one base equipment and one pure equipment. We're gonna remove this and we're gonna give him this one, but give him a lot of base, which is 38%. So we're gonna do equal to 31.45 plus 38%, and we're gonna give him 18% pure here, and let's see the difference. So remember, first setup just base equipment is gonna get 60% more base than the second, and the second is gonna get less base but a lot of pure, and the third setup is gonna be a mix between base and pure. And let's see our result. We're gonna go to this table here, which is gonna give us a summary, and we're gonna just focus on basically the 3 base strike attack setups, or the strike attack setup, which is the result. It's gonna calculate the pures too, and as you can see here, the setup with the pure is gonna have much more than the setup with the base. Even if we have 60% more base on the first setup, I'm gonna have 200k more stats on the full pure setup. And even the balance setup is giving us less stat, and I will give you a small summary in a second on what to use based on the equipment you have and the stars. But in this particular example, the all pure is giving so much more than only the base, and even balance is less than the pure equipment on a 14-star LL. Now, let's say, when are we gonna use a base over pure equipment? I would say if your equipment is base and it's 3x the pure equipment, I would still use the pure equipment. We're gonna do this. We're gonna give them both a base of 31.5% from the ability and so on. And here we're gonna give 15%. Here we're gonna give 45% base extra, and here it's gonna be only it's gonna be only 15%. So is 45% base strike attack better than 15% pure strike attack? And as you can see here on our table, the pure is still better. So 3 times the base on a 14-star LL is still less valuable than a 15% pure equipment. Now let's do 6x, or let's do 4x, sorry, not 6x. So 60%, so 15 times 4 is gonna be 60, and we're gonna have 15%. And as you can see, the character is finally having more than the pure equipment, but we had to get 4 times the value, and I think it lies more around 3.5. so let's get it to 45 is 52.5%, I believe, if my math are correct. And yes, it's still lower. You see here, even if we have a 52.5, so 3.5x is still lower. It's more like 3.6x, but let's make it like 4x, and that's basically how it works. Let's make a summary here. We're gonna have for offense, because defense is a little bit different and I will explain it later. For your equipment recommendation, we're gonna do equip recommendation like this. For a 14-star LL, I would say a 4x base equipment is gonna be better than a 1x pure equipment. For example, like 60% base better than 15% pure, but a 3x base equipment is gonna be less than a 1x pure equipment on a 14-star LL, of course. And we're gonna assume we have at least 245% base Z ability, so you understand it, and you have at least 240% Z ability to your main offense, okay? Like we had our Piccolo with 231, so we're gonna just round it up to 240, and let's say 45% base is gonna be less than 15% pure. Very easy. So if you have an equipment that says 45% base strike attack, and then equipment that says 15% pure strike attack, you're gonna go with the 15% pure strike attack because it's gonna give you more value. Now let's lower it to a 9-star LL. Now I think a 3 times base equipment is gonna be better than a 1-time pure equipment this time around. So 45% better than 15%, but a 2 times is gonna be less than a 1-time pure. Okay, very easy. 1-time pure, 1-time base. Okay, so it's gonna be like that. I'm gonna remove this since you already understand how it works. And for a 6-star LL, I would go 1-to-1. So I would always prioritize pure, but if it is like similar, like for example you have 20% base strike attack and 15% pure, you might want to go with the pure, but the 20% base strike attack is going to be similar. But if the pure equipment doesn't give you a lot of other values, might as well go for the base, but always prioritize the pure. Now if you have a 3-star character, I would say always go with base, unless you have like 300% Z ability already. Maybe you want to go with the pure equipment. That's basically it for the offense. I hope you understand that. Now let's go for defense. For defense equipment, I would say for defense, if you have a 14-star LL, 2x base is gonna be better than 1x pure. And I'm saying that because the defense, the stats are much lower than the offenses. So let's say we're gonna have strike defense here, and we're gonna have 150% base strike defense because equipment don't give as much as the offenses and the stats are lower. And we're gonna give here 150% again, and let's give it a 20%. No, let's put it like, let's give it a 20% base defense equipment, and here we're gonna keep it like this, 150, and we give it a 10%, so it's half, like this, and here we're gonna do equal, and let's see the difference. The pure offense is a little bit better still, so 2x is not the way, so let's make it 30%. Is it better? Yes. Now this time around the strike defense is better. So for a 14-star LL, if you have at least 150% base defense, 3 times base is better than 1-time pure. So 30% is better than 10%. Okay. And we're gonna do 2 times base is less than 1-time pure. Like this. So 20% is less than a 10%. Yes, like this. I think you understand it. If you have a 14-star LL for pure defense equipment, you're gonna go with 3x is better than a 1x pure, and here for offense is 4x times 1x, so it's a little bit different. And then we're gonna go to 9-star. You're gonna do like the offenses, 2x better than 1x, that's base and pure, base and pure. I think even like 6 to 9-star, to be honest, because the defense stat do not go that much up, and 1-to-1 is gonna be always pure is better, and that's how it goes. So I'm gonna remove this, so it's just better like this. And if it's below 3-star, I think below 3-star, I would say is similar. It's similar, so do not worry too much about it. Another thing for defense, always go with HP. It's much better than like pure defenses. And my advice is, for a character like we have 3 equip slot, have at least 2 HP equipped 2 pure offense equip and maybe 1 pure defense equip if possible, and that's how I usually do my equipment. That's basically how it goes for equip recommendation for offenses, defenses. I hope you understand a little bit more, and I hope it is helpful. That's basically it for today's video. A little bit of a long one, a little bit of a discussion. Now, have a good one, and goodbye. If you have any question, let me know in the comment.